One of the things that I loved about today's episode with Ray was that it was so refreshing to hear how he saw a need and he filled the need in his business. And what's cool about that is he's forcing us to think outside the box. And I know forcing is a big word, like it seems kind of aggressive, but it was so interesting. I found myself thinking, okay, even though I'm not in the physical therapy space, my business is completely different from that. There's so many things in the client journey that I can use. There's so many things with technology, with AI, with all this amazing stuff that we have access to with our smartphones, any sort of technology that we use in our business. If we use that to think outside the box, to think about what our clients are going through, how they're interacting with our business from their perspective, fascinating stuff. If you are in that space and you are looking for ways to improve your business from a technology standpoint, if you want to find out more about the client journey and how to map that out, make sure that you check out Ray's episode because there are so many good things in it. Today's guest has been in the PT business for 15 years and founded 2 medical technology innovations that changed the way that physical therapy practices operate. He designed automation software to help companies work more efficiently, secure more repeat clients, provide an all-in-one clinical service, and more. His technology is like a business partner that does the bulk of the tasks for you, takes care of your clients, and pays attention to their needs with sheer dedication. Not only will you have more time for personal things that equally matter, but you'll also save time for yourself and your customers without the headaches. I mean, who doesn't need less headaches? Please welcome Ray to the show. How are you?
Good. It sounds like we're already done. I'm just going to wrap it up here and thank everybody for coming. That intro was good enough that anything I say is going to be downhill from there.
No, I'm excited to talk to you today because I think that this is one of the things that all of us as business owners struggle. Like, we know that we need technology in our business. It can be so frustrating when it doesn't work. But I guess the theme of that would be never give up because you can totally figure it out. But tell us how you got created, or started creating software programs to improve business operations.
Pain. Pain.
Yeah.
I had my own physical therapy private practice for 15 years. It was a lot of pain, a lot of searching for the answer and not finding it. And then just deciding, hey, maybe I'm the one who's supposed to start doing some of this. Maybe I'm supposed to start fixing the issues that everybody's having right now. So that's kind of how it started. It was just the living in the pain, losing countless hours with my family really drove me. It was really a selfish endeavor to start. And then when I started to do it and I started to pick my head up and look around, I saw everybody else was having the same problem as me. So then it kind of shifted to solving the customer problem.
I love that because you took something that was frustrating to you and you're like, okay, I went out to the open market. I can't find it. I need it. So you created it and now you're sharing it with others. I mean, that's a huge lesson in opportunity, in inefficiency, and ways to build stronger relationships with other businesses and also give them back time with their families too. So what's the best way for us to look for inefficiencies and stronger relationships in our business?
Honestly, it's mapping the process, like writing the process out. What does it look like for your customer? Like, try to see things through their eyes. What does it look like to do business with you? What's their first interaction? What happens after that? Where does that information go? What do you do with that information? How does that information flow to the next person that might need it? How is this improving that in our case, the patient? How is it improving that patient's life cycle with your business? What are you doing with information you have after they've purchased and after they're done making their purchases? What do you do with that information? By and large, I was finding that I was doing nothing with it. Like, every opportunity I had to set an expectation within my customer, I wasn't taking it. We were letting the customer set their own expectation. And then when their expectation wasn't met, we wondered why they went away.
I love that. Like looking at it from the client journey, from their perspective, putting on their shoes and saying, okay, what does this look like from their side? Because I think that happens to all of us. We're so busy like creating things and, giving people this service that we've created, but we rarely look at it from their perspective. So what's the best way to do that? Because like the thing that popped into my mind was like mind mapping software of like how to create that journey. Like how did you do that? Did you just do it on the back of a napkin? What did it look like for you?
Oh no, first I love this analogy, and it's kind of what you're talking about. Like they say, it's like trying to read a paper that's 2 inches from your face, right? When trying to run your own business, but it's not. It's like trying to read a paper 2 inches from your face while the back of the book is closed on your head and shutting off all the light and you can't see it. Like you have to be able to step back. So what I did is I started working with some coaching stuff. Uh, Started out, to be perfectly honest, I started out free. Just started listening to people's stuff, people talking, read some books about, customer experience, Disney, those sorts of things. Found a guy in the physical therapy space that was doing it great and started collaborating with him. And then I started to map it. Like it's got to be written down. If it's not written down, you're not really doing anything. You're pretending like you're solving the problem. But until you're writing it out and you have like a clear flow of each and every touch point, you don't really understand it. And you've got to understand where you have your churn, like where your customers are churning. Where is that? You have to understand where that is. You cannot fix it if you don't know where the problem is. So really start writing it down. Start writing down each interaction that they have with you, and then start to live in that space, right? So the space in between when the customer reaches out to you and what you say to the customer is where success happens. It's in that space before you respond. And if you start looking at that space between that first contact and that first interaction with you, that's where all the success and all the ability to create success lies, because the response is what creates the relationship. The relationship is what creates the customer, and so on and so on and so on.
Once we've determined what that process looks like what the client journey is for our clients in our business, what are areas that technology could either help us improve or support making that journey that much better for our clients?
Well, technology is sort of broken, to be perfectly honest. There is and this is one of the major things that we went about solving in the physical therapy realm. There's a major disconnect, right? So we use like, a CRM or, whatever you're using to contact with your customer. There's so many products out there, Go High Level, all these products, right? They don't create a real relationship with the customer. It's all, I'll say BS, because I wanted to say the word, but it's all BS, and they know it, and you know it, right? And then when you have an interaction with them, you have no idea what they got. You have no idea the emails, the text. Did they get a 20% off? You have no idea. You have no idea. So what has to happen is you have to find a way to join that online experience with the real live in-person experience. Like you have to find a way to make this journey online support the interaction that the physical person is having with the customer, because that changes everything, because now it makes it a real thing to the customer. So if you sent them a 20% off coupon and you found a way that that, right? That you get an app, you have the app on their phone, they're in, you can see, their location services show they're with you. Now you can see everything they've done. You can see every interaction they've had with your business online. Somebody can look at that, and now you can have a conversation with that person. Could you imagine if you were going to buy a car and they knew, like, you looked at this car, this is what you looked at, this is the color you looked at, this is the package you looked at, and they came up to you and started talking to you about it. If you went the whole way through the build, if you didn't go through the build, it totally changes everything, and they can tailor what they're doing to you and your expectation and what you're looking for.
That's so cool. And it's something that should be obvious, but I don't
Right.
think, I mean, I know that in our business, we don't look at it like that, but we should, because you're right. I mean, let's talk about how you did that in your business, because I think it's important to give examples, because even as we're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, there are things that I could be doing so much better, and like the wheels are turning. So give me some examples of what you did in your business to like make that happen.
So one of the most basic things that we did was just an interaction. So like when people schedule with us, we're physical therapists, they schedule with us. On the schedule, it tells you everything that the customer got. So you can look at, they got this email. You can review the copy of the email if you want there. They got this text. We do, I don't know if you're familiar with a voice drop, like your phone doesn't ring and you have a missed call and a voicemail. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we do those, but they're all specifically from their therapist, not from the business, from the person that they're having the interaction, the relationship with. Right. That person can see everything that went between the last 2 times they saw one another. So now they walk in and they say, hey, did you get my email? And now guess what happens to your email open rates? They triple just with one question, because you're engaging with them. We started mining out the goals for the patient, like the real reason that they're coming to physical therapy. And we created the software to automatically put those into the email. So the email looks like somebody actually typed it out, right? So it'll be talking about their back and that they want to get back to playing with their grandchildren. So we've kind of really made it a personal experience. And then that experience is reinforced by the human being when they walk into the room with them and say, hey, did you get my email? Oh, no, I didn't get a chance. Oh, well, I sent you an email about this. Make sure you check my emails because I send you some important stuff. You'll also get some texts from me, and I'll try and give you a call every now and again. And the person's kind of blown away because nobody does that in medicine anymore. There's, it's not like people go out of their way to reach out to you when they're done with work. So it really blows people away and creates a different experience. And we found that, like for us, cancellation no-shows are a big thing. We found that it almost eliminated the problem, because now we're creating a relationship with this person. Now they look at you in totally a different light because you're gaining that information from them. You're creating that relationship with them. And then we do some other things like use Net Promoter Score to monitor where they are, so that the therapist then knows if this person loves you and they want to refer other people to you, or if they're about to go away. So, there's just a lot of insights into what's going on in the mind of the customer, a lot of reinforcement between the online and offline interaction, so that you're creating an experience for them.
I love the fact too that it's like, it's amazing from a client perspective, because I mean, who wouldn't want to be treated like that? You're actually forming a relationship. Someone cares about your well-being. Obviously in medicine, that is like something that's so rare these days. But also from like an employee perspective, like how empowering that must be for your staff, that feels like, okay, I've got this many people that I need to see today, but I feel confident knowing that all those details are there. I don't have to store that stuff in my brain. It's all in the system. I mean, talk about that from an employee's perspective too.
Yeah, well, there's a number of things that get the employee. So as like there's 2 employees here really. The owner and the person who's running that marketing, and or the person who's running that marketing, and the person who is meeting with the person face to face. There's another whole other load of problems that therapists have that we solved, like their documentation takes forever, and other softwares. With us, it's almost instantaneous because AI does it for them. But it's the employee, like it's the same thing, really. You're focusing in on the person to say, okay, what are your problems? Where are they, and how can we help them? How can we help to serve you? Ultimately, the same way that you're doing it with a customer is the same thing that happens with the employee. So yeah, employee retention goes through the roof naturally, because Now we're trying to solve their problems because that's all anybody's looking for. We're all just a bunch of people running around this little blue thing going around the sun, trying to solve the problems that we have on a day-to-day basis. And if we feel like someone is doing that for us and trying to help us do that, there's no level of devotion that we will have to them that doesn't absolutely astound the other person. Because, yeah, I mean, we're just all a bunch of people trying to solve problems. And if you can solve their problems, it really helps. And the problem then becomes we run into a one-to-one problem, right? Everybody wants something to be one-to-one, but really you need to be one-to-many because you only have two hands. You can only serve so many people with your two hands, or your voice. But now what we're doing right now, we're trying to do one-to-many. We're trying to use this podcast to reach a large number of people, right? We're trying to do the same thing with software. We're trying to create that one-to-one relationship, but by doing it on the software end for the provider, for the business, and for the employee as a one-to-many. So now when they're creating one piece of content, like, a follow-up call to see how somebody's doing after their first visit, right? I'd love to do that for every single one of my patients. I don't have time.
Right.
So automated the process. Now every single patient gets a personalized phone call from me, that voicemail from me, checking in and seeing how they're doing every single time.
So cool. Okay. All this stuff is incredible. What are some other areas in operating our business that technology could really help us improve? I love all these ideas. I'm like a sponge. I'm like, give me more. I need more ideas.
So, one thing that there's a company called Sheets. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're a convenience store chain down the East Coast. They're kind of moving. Actually, I think they're all the way down to Florida now, all the way up the East Coast into Ohio, Kentucky. They're getting pretty big. So one of their C-level people was a patient of mine. And, we were having pretty much this conversation, to be perfectly honest. We're sitting there talking about technology and how it can be used and how they're not using it to the fullest extent. I'm like, nobody's using it to the fullest extent. And she said to me, I think we're doing a pretty good job. And I said, no, you're not. I said, I just pulled into your place this morning. It's a convenience store, so I was filling up with gas. I didn't go into your store. I have my phone in my pocket with your app on it. And you track what I eat on there. You know what I order, what I buy, because I get, discounts on it. And I scan my thing every time to get these discounts. I said, and I was standing there at your pump for 2-3 minutes, feet from your front door, and you didn't make me an offer. You know where I am. I have GPS on my phone. You know that I'm in your parking lot. You know I'm pumping gas. Your app, I gave you permissions to track me. Make me an offer.
Maybe I'm thirsty.
Yeah, or I eat that. This is a while ago. I used to eat their sausage, egg, and cheese schmuffins. I used to love the things, right? So I'm sitting in there in the morning. I've bought 100 of these things. Hey, 20% off a schmuffin today. Mm-hmm. I'll walk into the building and I'll give you my money.
That's motivating.
Right. But it's, you don't take the opportunities. We don't make people offers when they're ready, when they're ready to buy. And we don't use the tech to track when they're ready to buy. That's just one example off the top of my head, but each business is different. But, moving them through and knowing where they're at with your business and acting on that information is imperative.
Absolutely. That is such good advice. There's so many things that I think that we as business owners don't think about because we're in the day-to-day. Where can people connect with you? What's your favorite social media? Where can people connect with you and be like, I need to raise my hand. This is me. Where I need help thinking through this. Where can people find you to talk to you more about this?
I'm old. Let me just preface this. I'm old, so I'm on Facebook. I try to be on Instagram. I'm not real good at it. I'm not real good at posting or anything like that. So I'm primarily on Facebook. You can find me under Ray Berardinelli, my name, which is on the screen. And I have a group, but unless you're really in the therapy space, it's not really pertinent to you, called the Physical Therapy Business Builders Group. So it's focused on the specific problems within physical therapy and how to overcome those. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, that business niche.
Absolutely. Well, I think the things that we talked about can really help us to start thinking, even if we're not in the PT space, it can start to get us thinking about things in a different way. Like you talked about, like there's so many different things that we could be doing as business owners that we just don't really think of because one, we don't take the time to do it. So carving out time is important, but also just being able to like think about like, what are the cool things that I wish, like you were talking about with the muffin, like what are some cool things that we could potentially be doing at, doing better? Does that technology exist? If it doesn't, we could make it. But also, too, one question that I always ask all of my guests is what's one piece of advice that you would give to a small business owner?
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Find a tribe. Find people that are going to lift you up and motivate you, and keep pushing. Because that we all have down times in business. The journey of an entrepreneur really is that roller coaster ride, and you have those valleys. So if you have a tribe, they're going to pull you through. They're going to tell you, hey, keep going. A good tribe of people. They're going to tell you, hey, keep going. You got this. So find a tribe, get with them, and don't give up. Just keep pushing. The easiest and most sensible thing in the world to do is to give up, but don't do it. You'll regret it for the rest of your life if you do.
Such good advice in so many areas of life, not just business, just to never give up. Oh, so good. Thank you so much for being here with us today to talk about all things technology. Is so amazing. I'll be sure to link your Facebook inside the show notes in case people are in the physical therapy space and are like, I need to do some things differently. This is the perfect person that I need to talk to. So thanks again for being here.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it.